Hello once again. So this week we're doing the continuation from the previous week's video, that was the mean. So we started off with the FX method, and today we're going to see the deviation method, or the FD, assumed mean, terms like that, right? So when we look at that assumed mean, now what does assume mean? Like, for example, assume is an assumption. You're guessing something, right? So what you're going to do here is you're going to assume a mean. You're going to guess, or you're going to say, okay, maybe this is the mean. And then you're going to find out how has the actual mean deviated from your guess, right? That's exactly what you're doing here. So for this, what are we going to do? Let us look at an example there. So example 1 says, the following table contains data on the number of units of water that was consumed during a month by 70 families who receive water from a certain water scheme. So they've given us the class interval, they've given us the number of families. So like the usual thing, we need to first figure out, we have to find out what is the assumed mean, right? So if you look at the assumed mean, what are we going to do here? So previously, what did we do? We got the mid-value column, and then we multiplied the mid-value column by the frequency. We got the fx, and we divided by the number, the total frequency, fx divided by f, right? But in this case, we're going to take a guess maybe. So what do we do? How do we take that guess, right? We look at the class intervals. Usually, most of the times, what we can do is we take the mid value, or the mid value of the model class. Now what is this model class, right? So if you look at the frequencies, the highest number or the highest frequency is 26, and that belongs to the class interval 21 to 23, right? So 21 to 23, we look at the highest frequency, the number that's highest in the frequency column. We match that with the class interval. So the class interval is 21 to 23, and we take the mid value of that class interval. So the mid value is 22, right? So what is the assumed mean that we took? The mid value of the model class, right? So now we are guessing that maybe 22 is the mean. Now we need to see what is the deviation, how have we deviated, right? So for that, what are we going to do? Now we have the class interval column, we have the mid-value column, we add a new column saying deviation. So what are we going to do here? From this 13, we subtract the 22, the one that we guessed. So usually what happens is the numbers at the top, right? Top of the guessed or the assumed mean would be negatives. So 13 minus 22, you're subtracting a bigger number 22 from a smaller number 13. So 13 minus 22 would give me minus 9, right? And then what is our next step? 16 minus 22. So if I have to write that down to give you better clarity, 16 subtract 22. So from 16, you're subtracting 22. So you're subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. So your answer will always be a negative. 22 minus 16 is 6, and then you have a negative 6 there. So 22 minus 22 would give you 0 itself. 25 minus 22 is 3. 28 minus 22 is 6. Okay. So that's how you get the deviation column there. So just to remind you once again as well, how do we get the mid-value column? We add the two class intervals, 12 plus 14. 12 plus 14 would give you 26 there. 26 divided by 2 would give you 13. So that's how you get the mid-value column. And now what do we do? This actually is incorrect. This needs to be a D here, not Fx. So FD, we need to find out what is FD. So we multiply 9 times, or negative 9 times positive 5. When you multiply a negative by a positive, your answer would always be a negative. So negative 45, 6 times 9, negative 6 times 9, negative 54. Negative 3 times 11, negative 33. 0 times 26 is always 0. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. 11 times 3, 33. 8 times 6, 48. So now we need to get the totals. So we add all the negatives together. 45 plus 54 plus 33. All negatives added together would give us an answer of negative 81. Right? So once we get, sorry, not negative 81. That is, this one added will give us a positive 81. But this would give us a negative 132. Right? 132. So 45, 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 3 is 11. Oh, sorry, 12. And when I add that here over here, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 3, 13. So that gives us 132. And over here, when I add this part, I get the positive 81. So 81 minus 132. Basically, we are adding 81 and negative 132. So that gives us an answer of negative 51. Now that is the FD, the sum of the frequency and the deviation column, FD multiplied. Now what do we do next after this? We move to the next part where we need to figure out, we divide the FD by the F. So negative 51 will be divided by the frequency, which is 70 families that we had there. So negative 51 divided by 70 would give you an answer of negative. So 22 minus 0.728. When we do the subtraction, we get 21.272. That is approximately, the symbol here means approximately, which is 21. So they've done the rounding there and they've given us an approximate answer of 21. So the average or the mean in this case would be 21. So I believe both of the methods are clear and they're not very confusing as well, because it's pretty much easy. This mean lesson is very easy for you, or you can get that 8 marks in the paper without any doubt. Just be careful that you don't make any careless mistakes. You multiply properly, you add the numbers properly, and you're all good to get at least 8 marks for sure. Right, so I'm going to do, in today's video, we are going to do 2 more papers, past paper questions as well, with regards to this frequency and mean lesson to get a better understanding. So I have the Maths 2018 paper and also the 2023 paper ready to do these 2 questions here. Right. So to start off with, there's one more thing that I do want to show with regards to the paper. Sometimes in the paper there are questions which they word it in a tricky way, right? Sometimes they tell you use the assumed mean or otherwise. Now as soon as you're doing the paper, you look at the word, oh, assumed mean, I'm going to try the assumed mean method because that's what they've mentioned. But no, what did they say? Use the assumed mean or otherwise. So otherwise means you have the option of using the FX method as well, right? So don't panic. I understand when you're doing a paper, you have a lot of tension, a lot of panic that goes into your mind. But let's read the questions carefully and understand what do they want us to do. So if the term use the assumed mean or otherwise comes there, don't worry, you're good to move and you're good to do the question in the FX method. Alright, so let's look at this first question. Nimal is involved in a small industry which produces sports items. Information regarding the number of items he produced each day during a period of 50 days is shown in the following frequency distribution. So we have the number of items 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and the number of days as well, 5, 8, 10, 12, 9 and 6. Nimal gains a profit of 60 rupees by selling one of these items. He expects to gain a profit of 370,000 rupees during the next 120 days by working and selling the items in the above manner. Find the mean number of sport items he produced in a day and show with reasons whether his expectations is fulfilled or not. Right, so we are going to find the mean for this. So let me quickly get the table ready. All right, here we go. So we have a table ready, right? So what did we do in the table? I did not draw the class intervals 20 to 30. Instead, I drew the x column, which is the mid-value column. So I took that as x and took that as 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, and 75. And I wrote down the frequencies as well, 5, 8, 10, 12, 9, and 6, and got the fx column. So 25 times 5 would give you 125. 35 times 8 would give you 280. So just to help you out with some of the multiplications as well, because I do understand some of us might struggle with the multiplications when it comes to the exams. It's all right. We're good. We're still good. We still have the time to correct ourselves and understand what we can do and how we can go best. So 8 times 5 gives you 40. So you write that 40 there, and then so you write the 0 here. You carry the 4 up. So there we go. And 8 times 3 is 8, 16, 24. 24 plus 4 is 28. So that's how we get the answer of 280 in this place. right? So I mean, I understand some of you might not be like very fluent with your multiplication tables, maybe the 7 times table, maybe the 8 times table, you might be struggling with it. So what you can do is as soon as you're doing your O level paper, you get your answer scripts first, and you get the opportunity to answer once they tell you that you're ready, and you can start writing, not before that. But once you can write, maybe you can quickly jot down the 8 times table and the 7 times table, because if you're not sure about your tables, but if you're all good with your tables and you know that really well, then we are all good, right? This is just a trick that you can use, because while you're panicking, maths is a paper where you might have a lot of panic, you might do mistakes in a rush, not because you don't know, but because you're stressed out. Sometimes we tend to say, okay, yeah, 8 times 5 is 40, but you might end up writing 44 or something else because you're in a rush. So if you are not sure of the 8 times 7 times tables, some of the tables, not everything, don't just copy down everything because it's of no use, but the ones that you're not sure, just jot it down before, so that you're all set. Okay. And moving on back to the question. So we multiply, and we got the fx column: 125, 280, 450, 660, 585, and 450. So now what you do is you need to get the total. You have to add all of these. So when we add all of these here, 5 plus 5 is 10. You put the 0, you carry the 1. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 plus 5 is 17. And now we have 17 plus 6 over there as well. So 17 plus 6, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 add 8 would give me 33, and then 2 minus, so 31. 31 plus 5 would give me 32, 33, 34. And yeah, one moment. Let us just quickly check this part as well. All right, yeah. So when we add this column as well, the tens column, we get 35. So we put the 5 there and we carry the 3 up. So 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 2 would give me 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 16. And then here we have 20, 25. So that's how we got 2,550 there. So once we get the fx column, we need to divide it by the frequency. That's 2,550. We divide by 50. So we get the answer 51. Let us quickly do the division and show as well, so that we are all good to understand what we've done there. So 2,550. We need to divide by 50. So I can actually cut off the 0 and leave only the 5 there, because we can cut this 0 off, right? Because we can divide it by 10 and cut it off. So 255 divided by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So you put the 5 here, and you have another one, 5 here. So 5 times 1 gives you 5. So the answer would be 51. But that's not the end of the question. That's not what they've said. But if you do up to that, you might get about 7 to 8 marks for sure, right? Because if you got the x column right, you get 1 mark. You got the fx columns right, you get 3 marks there. You got the total right, you get 1 mark. You got the total right here you got the division right, you get 1 mark. So that's how they add up the marks there. So don't worry if you've gone wrong in one place. You might go wrong with the entire answer, but make sure that you don't do that careless mistake and get the entire marks there. Right, and moving on to the next question that they have. What are they asking us to prove here? That what does he want to do? Nimal gains a profit of 60 rupees by selling one of these items. So the average amount that he has made is 51, right? So 51 items a day. Now 51 items a day, one item is 60 rupees, is 51 multiplied by 60. So when you multiply 51 by 60, you get the answer 3,060 rupees, right? So when you get 3,060 rupees, that's not the end, because they are telling us for the next 120 days. So I need to multiply that 3,060 by 120. So once we do that multiplication, we get the answer of about 367,200. So when we do the multiplication, we get 367,200, which is less than 370,000. So what was his expectation? To gain a profit of 370,000 rupees during the next 120 days by working and selling the items in the above manner. So if you look at this one, he has not met it yet. He's a little bit short of money there. He did not actually gain the 370,000, but instead he got only 367,200. So you have to write that statement to show that he did not gain that profit, because as per the mean, the amount that he got would be 367,200, which is less than 370,000 rupees. So that entire statement needs to come in, right? So just to tell you a little bit more about this question, in case you decide to do it in the FD method, what would you do, right? So like I told you, what would you do? You can take the mid value of the modal class. So here the highest frequency is 12 and the mid value of that is 55. So my assumption is that my answer is 55. Now I need to get the deviation column. So to get the deviation column, what do? We need to subtract 25 minus 55, 35 minus 55, 45 minus 55, and 65 minus 55, 75 minus 55. You get that deviation column, and then you multiply the deviation by the frequencies. So you get the FD column. And once you get the FD column, you get the total of that, and you divide that FD column by the frequency, which is 50, right? So let me maybe quickly work that out and show it to you as well, how we get the same answer, or the similar answer there. So give me a moment till I do that part there for you as well, and then we can work it. All right, so here we are ready with the deviation column as well. So deviation column, let me just help you out with that as well, what we did. So 25 minus 55 is minus 30, 35 minus 55 is minus 20, and so forth. We got the deviation column. Now don't worry, you're not going to add the deviation column, but you're going to multiply the deviation column with the frequency column. That's what I've got here. I hope you can see that as well. So what are we going to do? Minus 30 multiplied by 5 is minus 150. Minus 20 multiplied by 8 is minus 160. And minus 10 multiplied by 10 is minus 100. Yes, I'm so sorry about that sudden glitch that was there. So coming back to the question, we got the FD columns total and we got the frequency columns total there. We have the frequency columns total, which is 50, and we got the FD columns total as well. So when we got the FD columns total, we got it as minus 200. So now we have FD is equal to minus 200, and we have the frequency, which is equal to 50. And what was our assumed mean? We assumed that the mean would be 55. So we have these data with us there. So we have the frequency FD, and we have the frequency, and we have the assumed mean. So what do we need to do next, right? To find the actual mean, we need to find the actual mean, which is equal to assumed mean, that is 55, plus the deviation. Now how do I find the deviation? I divide the FD by the frequency total. So that is minus 200 divided by 50. So when I divide minus 200 by 50, you would get minus 4. So now what happens over there? 55 minus 4. So 55 minus 4 is once again equal to 51. That is the mean that we got using the FX method as well. So I believe that is clear to you how we can work out these questions in both the FX method and the FD method, both of them, right? So I'll see you back in the next video as well, where we will be doing a couple of other questions with regards to mean if time permits, or we will move on to the next lessons. Meanwhile, what I want you to do is you can do some questions with regards to this past papers, with regards to mean, and you can email them to me, and I will help you out by checking your answers and emailing back to you, like replying back, showing you where you would have gone wrong. So thank you very much for joining in then. Have a nice day. Bye.